Welcome to the AbsoluteCast. This is episode 9 and part 2 of our, roundup or discussions around the WWDC that happened on, what was it, the 22nd of June, right?
Right.
22nd of June. So, obviously, if you've been following us for a while, then hopefully you've caught up. If you haven't, then you can definitely head back and listen to part 1 and then come into this one as this is part 2. I'm, of course, TJ, your host of AbsoluteCast, and we have with us Udit, who seems to be representing Apple, but don't let the looks fool you.
Sure, you'll get to know who I'm representing by the end of this. Oh, no, I mean, it's within 2 minutes, actually. Yeah. Please, go ahead. Yeah.
And, of course, we have Nakul, who is like me, tends to be a bit of an Apple fanboy or an Apple user. And, of course, he's the guy who edits these episodes, so big props to Nakul for that.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
How are you guys doing?
Great.
Good.
Where did we leave things? In the last episode, I think we ended the discussion around maps, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Maps.
Right.
So it begins.
And so it begins. Right. Okay,
Yes,
so
maps.
so we were
Most of it
discussing
doesn't
maps.
affect UAE.
Huh? Yeah, and that
Most of it doesn't affect UAE. Sadly.
yeah, and how it doesn't affect UAE, which is a bit unfortunate, but okay, we no point beating the same drum again and again. It's no point.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Let's talk about, or let's start this episode off with search. So I know Udit had some comment about search specifically.
Yes, so I saw in-app search in the iOS 14 features.
Right.
So I was wondering what exactly is in-app search.
And that's on their website, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I'll link to that specific page. You might have to find it on the page, but I'll link to that page in the show notes. But basically, Udit, so obviously when you told me about it, I didn't really know about it much, but I did a little bit of digging in. I tried to use the feature, so I'm not really sure how they went about doing it. But the idea here is that they're trying to make the search on the iPhone also similar to Spotlight.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know much about Spotlight.
Yeah, I used to use Mac way back.
Okay, right.
But then I don't know what are the improvements. I mean, it searches throughout the system basically.
It searches throughout the system. So iOS's search was already kind of like Spotlight. So I don't know what exactly they're adding more to it, because as far as I remember, it used to search through everything. But I guess now if you do a search at the bottom, you see search through notes, search through mail. So you click it, it opens the app, and I think it searches it. So that's where they're trying to bring in
It
a bit more.
searches through more apps than earlier.
Yeah, more data of the apps
Does
than
it?
earlier.
Okay.
Does it search third-party apps like let's say WhatsApp?
I don't know actually. I'm not sure. I've really only used the search on the app on the phone just to find apps. I have almost not used it
So
for
I
anything
actually-
else.
You know that would actually be a cool thing if all phones, for that matter, could search through all apps. Let's say you have sent me something about whatever, and then I'm like, I don't remember on what did he send me. Did he email it? Did he WhatsApp it? And I search, and the phone searches all your apps.
Yeah.
That would be actually pretty cool. Yeah.
I just checked. It doesn't search inside third-party apps like WhatsApp.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you see at the bottom that it shows you a bunch of options to search in mail, search in notes, something
Yes,
like that?
calendar,
Yeah.
mail,
So I
and App
just
Store.
click it and see what happens.
Earlier, it did not search through mail and calendar.
I don't know. You
No, it
normally
used to.
open the app and search within the app, right?
No, it used to definitely search through calendar, notes, and mail. Yeah.
Okay.
Earlier it was there, but I don't know what they've added this new feature.
Okay.
I mean, I genuinely just don't remember.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so I guess I don't know if that answers your question. I mean, for me, it is still a bit vague in that sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Same.
it is what it is, I guess. There's not much that we'll find out as things come about. I don't know. I'm
I
curious
guess.
to know more about it. The next thing that maybe it's not such a big feature, but it's definitely a nice addition to have on the native keyboard. But you could do it with other keyboards. They added search for emojis.
Emoji Search.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
before they were trying to rely more on the predictive,
Text.
prediction algorithm. Yeah.
Right.
So as you type it, it would highlight and you tap it and it would change. But now you can actually open the emoji keyboard and search, which is much better than what it was before. Like I used to have Swift keyboard just for that. Because the ability to find emojis
Yeah.
was a lot easier on that than it was on Apple's keyboard. But now I don't need really any third-party keyboards anymore.
It's there on the
Yeah.
Google keyboard for a few months, and
Mhm.
it's really nice. I mean, you search, let's say, plant, and you get all the plant emojis, or
Right.
happy and all happy emojis. Does it work as good in the Apple emoji keyboard as well? Did you try it out?
I tried it a bit. I'm quite happy with it. I don't know, Nakul, if you tried it.
I have not.
Okay.
Actually, I use the simple emojis, so that's why.
Right.
Actually, I forgot that feature has been added, so I didn't use it in the last 24 hours.
Right. So maybe you can try it out and then we can see. But
Yeah.
for me, honestly, it worked fine. I don't remember what I was searching for, but I searched for something and it came up. It gave me the right suggestion and I was happy with it. So
Yeah.
I think it's good. I think it's good.
I saw the video, MKBHD video he made that, so there was a discussion that if this emoji is prayer hands or hi-fi. So he said that if you search hi-fi in Android,
Mm-hmm.
it
shows it.
this one shows as, yeah.
Okay.
So and for Apple, it does not. So I think Apple still considers it as a namaste
Pray.
or for prayer hands, yeah.
High five. No, I can't see.
How do you even
their
spell
emoji.
high five?
Actually, HIGH.
I
It's
tried
not
all,
HIF, the number 5, right?
I tried all. I tried that as well. I tried HI5
Okay.
or
Then I think-
HIGH space
yeah.
FIVE, but it's just showing this.
And you're using Google keyboard.
Gboard.
You're
yes,
using
Google.
Google keyboard.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
using Gboard. Is Gboard the like
It's the same Google keyboard.
So because we get a Google keyboard on iOS as well.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's the same as the keyboard that's there on Android's like native. Like if you don't install a keyboard on your phone, is that the one that you
Okay.
get Gboard?
These days, that's the one you get.
Okay.
Earlier, that wasn't the one. You used to have the manufacturer, whatever they chose. Sometimes
Right.
it used to be SwiftKey for
Right.
some brands, but nowadays I'm seeing more Gboard.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, and you guys obviously test a lot of Android phones quite regularly, so
Yes.
yeah. Cool. Okay, so I guess let's move on to the Translate app, I guess, if you want to call it, or
Oh my
feature
Yes.
overall.
Oh my
Go on with it. I know there's something you want to say.
Let's
I really
let's leave this.
don't
Yeah.
understand why did Apple have to come up with the Translate app. Firstly, it's very late, and Google has an amazing Translate app. It does literally amazing stuff. Everything that is there, real-time voice, everything, and even the logo is so similar to Google Translate logo. I was like, why?
Right.
That was one feature I really did not like, and even the design was just okay. Now, one thing I love
Design
about
is
Apple's
okay,
design.
yeah.
The design is like wow, but for this app, it's like, oh, you could have done better, or just not done this at all.
For me, I think like the app design is almost the same as Google Translate, but maybe a few versions ago and a little rounder edges and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, right, exactly.
for me, that's what I would set it as. By the way, don't open the Translate app because then your voice recording stops. Just FYI. So that's something you have
Okay.
to
So
continually
I heard
editing.
two notifications.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Any app which would use your
Microphone, yeah.
Yes.
So sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, the UI I think is fine. I don't know why you're so. I mean, sure the icon doesn't have anything going for it. It's so blah. Like that's the only word I
It's
can give it.
really blah. It's worse than blah.
Yeah.
The interface is okay. I mean, it's not great. It's average.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to give a potential answer to why they would go about doing it, is that that Apple doesn't necessarily take the data from Siri when you talk to Siri. Like if you say, "Hey Siri, blah blah blah," you do whatever you do with Siri. It
Right.
tends to not send that data to the server, especially like because you have a higher chance of saying no to it. And in Translate, but if someone has said yes, let Apple use my data to enhance Siri, it's still like you maybe do like a few interactions with Siri. But if the same person used Translate and had a conversation with someone, now Apple has a lot more data to work with and more conversational data. So potentially that could be a reason why, I don't know. And of course they have integrated Translate with Siri. They have the I think you can ask Siri to translate things for you, and it'll translate it using the app. I mean, before it wouldn't do that. It would try to find a web search for you. So I think that's one of the reasons why. I don't know why they have to make it a separate app if that's the only reason. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I guess on one perspective, they keep everything on device. If you want to make it offline, you can download the languages and do that. But I know that Google Translate also lets you download languages.
Yeah.
So in case you're offline, you can use it. I think maybe we seem to trust Apple more with our privacy. I don't know. Is that true? I don't know.
I didn't get your point about they're not getting data from Siri but from this app. I mean, you could not allow permissions for both.
No, that's not. Yeah, you're right, and that's not what I actually meant. Like I'm saying, if I allowed Siri to send my data.
Okay.
And then I allow Translate to send my data. That's 2 touch points for Apple to gather data and analyze. That's what I meant. Like not really. Like I don't tend to send it. Maybe I should, honestly. Like I rarely use it anyways. And when I do,
again, I don't remember having used Translate for conversational stuff.
That's a good point. I mean, I used it a long time ago. I've used it once in France. I've used it once in Poland. Poland was when I used it the most. So in France, the place that I was staying, they were English-speaking people. Okay. So I got away with English quite easily. But every now and then there's something that you want to explain and you just can't. Even the French person can't understand it. So you translate it and maybe that gets the point across. In Poland, I used it a lot.
Conversational.
Sort of. So I would just pick a word and make them hear the word.
Yeah. So I have used that in a lot of countries. I went to Georgia twice.
Yeah.
So almost everything I had to translate and show them or play it out for them. But it was never conversation. It was not like I'm talking, hey, how are you? And then the other person is talking in Georgian. No, it was never conversational per se.
Yeah.
It was mostly just one way to get my work done. Like, this is what I want. Give it to me. So,
but I think there are third-party apps like the one I was mentioning before. iTranslate. I did download that back in Georgia because we had a group of Russians with us. Okay. So it really worked well. It would just be a conversation, yeah. And also on the privacy part, I went in settings under Translate, and it says that so there is a setting called on device mode. So that is by default not switched on.
Okay.
So, and if you click on about Translate and privacy, it says that your voice interactions and input text are sent to Apple to process your request. So if you don't press on-device translation, then it goes to Apple. So that way, maybe they are
maybe that's how they're learning off of people's conversations or whatever. Mm-hmm. But again, it's more like a one-off use when you're traveling to a specific place. I don't know.
I know.
It's funny that you guys have. So you used it conversationally, Nakul.
Yes.
And did you pay for that?
There was a trial, I think 14 days trial.
Oh, so it was within that. Okay.
You must have been so sad.
Yeah. Missed opportunity.
Yeah, for those listeners who are joining this now, this is obviously an inside joke which you will catch on if you listen to the other episodes. So go check those out if you want to know what we're talking about here. But I think interestingly they did focus quite heavily on the conversational side. I don't know. I know Google Translate does it. Skype was doing it for live video calls and stuff like that. So I don't know. Let's try it and we'll see. I don't know. I can try it in Hindi and English and see if I can converse with somebody.
I don't think there is Hindi.
Oh, right. So then, well, there you go. So I can't translate. I can't check that out.
Hindi is not there. Yeah, I checked.
Let's see. I can try maybe Spanish.
Arabic?
If they have that. I don't speak.
Arabic is there.
I'm speaking here. I can probably ask an Arabic speaking friend of mine.
Try saying doors closing. Everyone knows that.
Any metro user knows that. Fair enough. Cool. Okay, let's move on. Unless Udit, you have something else you want to say about Translate.
So yeah, I think I mentioned off the podcast that the Translate app, like in a lot of Android phones, you could just point your camera to a text that is written, let's say, in another language, and it will translate it for you in real time. So you'll see the photo like moving everything with the camera pointed there, but the text itself will be in the language of your choice. So maybe they can integrate this with the native camera app. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they have their own Translate app.
Without using the Translate app, using just the camera app itself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that could be something. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, like you're already taking a picture.
Yeah, that'll be cool. But I mean, like, I don't think they'll do that. But yeah.
I wonder if that is. I
mean,
don't
it'll
think.
be
Yeah,
really
even
cool.
I have a feeling maybe that's not really the point of this. I don't know.
They wouldn't. They wouldn't want to bloat their camera app.
There was one thing. Now that we're talking about it, I remember. I think I hinted at it, but in-call translations.
Right.
I don't know if
That
that's
would
a
be
thing.
amazing.
If they figure that out, that would be amazing. So the incoming, like if I'm talking to somebody who's talking, I don't know, in French, and they say something, it translates automatically for me and plays it in my, like, while I'm on the phone, it tells me that what they've said in English, and then I say something in English, it translates on my phone and sends that audio to them. That would be cool.
That would
I don't
be
know if they're
phenomenal.
if that's what they're going for, then I don't mind the shitty icon, you know.
Sure.
We can get through all the various services we need to use here in this country and manage. I'll choose number 1 every time I get into a department. Oh, that'd be funny. Cool. I guess let's move on to Siri. I don't know if you guys have much to add to Siri.
We did speak about Siri.
Yeah, we did.
We did talk about it. We talked about the web answers and things like that. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen part 1 of the WWDC 20 coverage, then definitely go check that episode out, the previous episode. I'll put a link of that even in the show notes here, so you can have a look at it. Okay, so maybe not Siri then. Let's talk about instant apps. App clips.
App clips.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was intentional.
Right.
So I guess nobody. Udit, you don't have any thoughts about app clips?
So Android was trying to do something like app slices.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen for some reason, but I was seeing a video where they were demonstrating. Let's say you search, you go to your today, you swipe and let's say go to your today screen or whatever, and you search for. They tried searching for Lyft, the taxi app Lyft, and
Yeah.
just when you search for Lyft, you get options for home or work, and you can see the price right away. So you can just click on that. So you don't have to go to the app and then click. But then of course it didn't work like iOS. It's not like it takes part of the screen. It did take the full screen, but did it in less taps, much less taps, or like directly going to that part of the app which you currently need, rather than having going throughout the app.
So I don't know. I mean, I know what you're saying, but as far as I know, there is something called instant apps, and that's a Google Play thing.
Okay.
So basically, like it's what app clips is basically.
I did read about instant apps, but then I haven't come across it practically, so I don't know what exactly
So
how
I
exactly-
feel like I have come across it. So there's a few concepts out there, right? We have instant apps, we have progressive web apps, and those two sort of work in a very similar way. So it might be that you are using an instant app you don't know, or you're using a progressive web app and you don't know. So that could be happening. A good example is I think Twitter, Instagram all have progressive web apps. I think one of the local, Tajawal has a progressive web app. Those are all pretty cool examples of progressive web apps, but those live on the internet. They just like have like a little, I want to say like a bookmark on your home screen which you click and it opens a stripped down version of the browser and runs within that. Instant apps is supposed to be a bit more native than that.
Right.
And same thing with app clips, it's supposed to be very similar to that. So basically app clips is where you either scan a QR code or tap an NFC tag. You have the instant app or app clip sort of pop up, and without downloading anything, it just, you're able to, without downloading anything, you were able to use it. And I know that I remember seeing it in the somewhere, I can't remember where. I don't know if it was on the iOS preview stuff, but they mentioned the size limit. So obviously, in order to get that speed, you need to have a certain size of the app.
Okay.
So you need to
Okay.
put that in your app as a package it sort of with your app, and then App Store takes care of the app clips part for you.
Okay.
So as a developer, that's another tool for me to use, which obviously Android has had. I don't know what success they've had with it, but it's an available option, I guess. Another thing.
Mm-hmm. And I can see it's been out for a while, since 2017, Instant Apps.
Instant App? Oh yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
good.
And so have progressive web apps. They've been around for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
So both are definitely. I mean, the transition of the web towards JavaScript when it came to things like React and AngularJS becoming a one-page app. So Twitter tends to use. I think Twitter now uses React, and React makes it all one page. So you can take that same UI as long as it's responsive, package it in a way that works like a PWA, which requires a few things. It's not that hard necessarily. But as long as you take care of these few points, you can convert it into a progressive web app, add it to your homepage. It's as good as a native app experience.
Wow.
So Android, I think Android Go, if I'm not mistaken, the Go versions of apps were essentially instant or progressive web apps.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think so. Because those, I mean, that operating system needed something super light.
Yeah, super light. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's what it was. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what, I'll just say that and end it there. So there's one question I want to ask you, Nakul. I don't know if you've been able to change your native browser. Was it browser or was it the map and
Browser and email.
Browser and email, yeah.
browser and email? Were you able to change it?
I have no browser other than Safari.
Oof.
So I'm stuck in the
You should
ecosystem.
actually download Chrome because that's what the rest of the episode is going to be about. But
Have you seriously, you don't have Chrome even on your computer?
On my computer, yes. But
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. On my computer I have it, but I haven't tried changing the default one. The thing is, I have all the passwords saved on Keychain. I have passwords saved on the Google Password Manager as well. But
Right.
they are different set. Like work passwords are on there, and then the rest are on
do you
Personal
use
Keychain.
the mail app as your default or primary app?
I use the mail app.
Okay.
Even I use the mail app.
I mean, I don't tend to use mail on my phone much. It's more for tracking. If I feel like I need to reply to something and it happens to be more than a few lines, I'll look for a bigger screen around me. But if it's a few short lines, then I reply immediately.
Yeah.
And that's
Okay.
my
For,
use. I don't.
for me,
really-
actually, only my work emails are on Mail app, and the rest, most of them are my Gmail accounts.
Gmail.
So
Okay.
for those, I'm using Gmail app.
Okay.
So have you been able to try? Have you been able to move your default mail app? No. I have no idea where the settings
No.
are. Honestly, I don't know if they've not added it part of this beta launch.
Beta, perhaps.
But it's supposed to be there. I mean, they
No, I
mentioned it on the keynote as
No,
well.
but I
in
think
their screen.
you're right. But I think you're right. They haven't implemented it yet on
Yeah,
this
maybe.
beta because
Maybe.
I saw on a video.
I think I would like to use potentially Outlook or Gmail as my default mail app. I think
I
Outlook
like
is-
Gmail because they have like important emails box, so I need to just pay attention to those.
Yeah.
And
I
for
don't know
those
if you
only,
guys-
I get notified.
I don't think you guys have heard of Hey.com. I don't know, it's somehow catching steam. I heard about it a few days ago. It's like
Hey,
a
I heard
new
about it too.
mail. You heard about it?
Yeah, but I don't remember in what context I heard it.
It's a new emailing service, you could call it, like Gmail, but they are trying to do a completely different take on it, and they have, instead of an inbox, you have an inbox, which is an important box.
Inbox, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So IM box.
Okay.
So I don't know, it's just
Okay.
And they're
Something to
they're,
think
they're
about.
gonna
has
charge
like primary. We got primary, so I don't.
they're
know
gonna
the
charge
system.
$99 annually.
Oh, okay.
annually, yeah, it's a $99 annually subscription.
Yeah, but I heard. Did you hear about the Superhuman app? I don't know what's that. Superhuman. It's $300
Wow.
Annually.
How
Is it
excited are you, Nakul?
Is that like the I Am Rich app which you paid?
No, not like that. Human.
Oh, it's
is
an
it
actual.
app
Oh,
or
it's a mail
service?
client. It's actually a mail client.
Yeah.
You know
I
what?
think we can get back to
Superhuman.com.
Yeah, let's get back to the WWDC, but I'll put
WWDC.
links to this in the show notes, and then let's see. It might be worth exploring it at another point.
All right.
I'll put both Hey and Superhuman into the show notes.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh,
So I
it's
think
by the
that
creator of Gmail. Okay.
so that kind of covers most of it, but there are a few things I see here on their website, like which I haven't really used. But for example, there's Home. There's supposed to be a better Home integration. There's automations and stuff based on certain actions, and I've not really used it yet, so I don't really have much to comment on, except for the fact that they forced it into my control center, and I didn't like that because I don't use it. I use voice. I use my Google Home to control that. I don't necessarily want to use my phone for it. But you can disable it in the control center. So that's something that definitely I'd seen. But I do like the idea of doing adaptive lighting. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm
Nice.
curious to try those out, and I will be trying those out soon. So maybe we can discuss it in, I don't know, one of the future episodes. May not be part of the WWDC series, but yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I think under iOS updates, we missed out on CarPlay.
We haven't reached there yet, so I wanted to just quickly talk about Safari.
Quickly.
Okay.
Okay, I mean,
Isn't that part of Mac, more of Mac than iOS?
no, iOS Safari is what I want to talk about first,
Oh, okay,
I guess.
fine. Okay.
So maybe we can talk about it in Mac because it's not that much stuff happening here, and a lot of it is related across both. So let's end the iOS 14 talk after CarPlay, and then let's talk Safari in the macOS. Why? What happened?
And
Oh, I
then
have
there's
few things to
AirPod.
talk about actually.
For Safari on iOS?
No, not Safari, but iOS in general.
Ah,
iOS
Yeah.
in
So
general.
let's finish CarPlay,
Okay. Good.
and then
Yeah.
you can not talk about whatever's bothering you. So one thing I'm really excited about is CarKeys, and it's funny because I remember discussing this idea with somebody, I don't know what it was, 10 years ago, when NFC started hitting mainstream, and I was like, this is the best thing. We can totally use our phone or an NFC card or NFC something to unlock our cars and make those things work. So I'm so happy that someone like Apple is taking this on, and someone like BMW is taking it on, because if BMW does something, Mercedes will follow, and Lexus will follow, and Audi will follow. But if someone like, I don't know, maybe Toyota did it, it may not be followed by everybody else. So I'm happy that a brand like BMW is taking it on. I don't know what you guys think about the fact that you can potentially unlock your car with your phone.
Okay.
For me, it's not necessarily the benefits for me personally. It's more as a benefit for if I want to, like, if somebody else wants to take my car or just wants to get access to enter it.
But
Yeah.
how often has that happened? I was just thinking of that, but how often has it happened that you want to give access to someone and you are not near the car, like you are a few miles away?
So I have an actual story about this. So we have a BMW X3, right?
Okay.
And it's based on our habits. So I have a key with me, and the rest of the family has a key with them,
Right.
right? And I'm the primary driver in the house. Okay, so even though everybody in the house drives, I was the primary driver. Obviously, I don't live with them anymore, but this is a situation when I was living with them. So it was a point when I think me and my sister were out for a friend's birthday,
Okay.
and my mom was coming to pick us up because she was in the area. Otherwise, we were going to take a cab back, but she happened to pick us up. And obviously, when she picked us up, I replaced her as the primary driver. Now, because the way I tend to have things, I keep my car key in my pocket because it's a push to start, so I don't need to take it out,
Right.
and I only need to lock it with the button, which is a
Right.
bit inconvenient for that particular model. But for future models, you don't even need to take the key out.
Right,
It's sort of
right.
automatic unlock and lock. But this is what happened, and my mom, my dad, and my sister, all three of them have the habit of taking the key out and putting it in the center
car
console,
somewhere, yeah.
somewhere in the car.
Okay.
So obviously we drive home, we park, I lock the car, and everybody's home. No one's the wiser. But actually, the car key was their car key was locked in the car. Okay. So now the next day, I was going to work, and one of my colleagues was picking me up that day because my own car was in the shop.
Okay.
So my colleague was
Yeah.
so my colleague was picking me up, and I left. Now they live about, I want to say, 30-40 kilometers away from my workplace at that time.
Okay.
And then my mom's like, "Hey, did you take the other car key? Where's the other car key? I don't know where it is. I obviously don't have it. I have only my car key." So now I'm thinking, okay, do I have to go all the way back? It's gonna waste my day. It's gonna take me an hour to go back, an hour to come back to work. That's 2 hours gone on my work day. And I had some deadlines to hit on that day itself. So it just so happens that I had set up a system with BMW. Now BMW has this feature for a while, and I set up this. They have an app which allows you to remotely unlock your car.
Okay.
So I happened to do that while I was 30-40 kilometers away. Now it's not the simplest method, and it doesn't work that seamlessly. So if I unlock it, it takes maybe 2 or 3 minutes for it to show up. So if for example, my mom was standing out in the heat in the summer to buy heat, it would have been tough for her, but at least there was a solution to the problem. So this sort of does that, but on crack. Like you can send the key, she can unlock it with just by tapping her phone, because so happens that she doesn't have the key with her, and then she can get in, and now she has the actual key to drive away with it. So that's one example.
I'm just wondering, isn't the car not supposed to lock if there's a key inside?
I locked it. No, oh yeah, you know what? It's funny because even I thought the same thing.
Right.
But I guess there are people who tend to keep a key inside their car.
Wow.
So in my current car, which is keyless entry, keyless exit, and push to start, so I don't even see my car key anymore.
Right.
You know, but there was a point when by mistake my car key was in my backpack, and I put my backpack in the boot and I shut the boot,
Okay.
and it sort of just kept opening.
Oh, wow.
So it didn't lock.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but I would also say that if I left my key in the car, I'm sure it would lock.
Is it? Okay.
If I left one key in and had the other key and I locked it, I'm sure it would lock.
Okay.
I've not tried it. I don't remember if I have
Okay.
tried it, but I'm like very certain it would lock.
Okay.
Yeah. Another example. My wife's car. There have been times when I have wanted to get access to my wife's car, but I didn't need to drive it, and she had one key and the other key is in the house, so it's not
Right,
with me,
right.
on me.
Okay.
So at that point, it would have been nice. Hey, can you send me access? I want to get it.
Right,
Otherwise,
right.
so in those scenarios, she's had to come and give me the key. I've had to go unlock it and return it or something like that.
So
Yeah.
this reminds me of two things about my Lincoln. I don't need
Okay.
to promote it or something, but then firstly, if you leave your key inside and step out of the car and close the door, it honks.
Okay.
So
Okay.
especially when you're giving it to valet or something, and you take the key with you, it'll honk. So,
Okay.
Secondly, Ford and Lincoln has this numerical touchpad on the door. So if you want to give someone access temporarily, they can only open the door. So in your second case, you could have just used that and.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that's a proprietary Ford only technology
Yeah.
that they
Okay.
patented, and I don't think they allowed it to be with anyone
Perhaps.
else. Also, who wants buttons on their car?
No, I mean in a situation like that.
Sure.
But then again, they get hidden in the Lincoln. At least they get.
Oh, it's a
hidden.
touch. It's a touch sensitive panel,
touch,
right?
yeah. They're not
But I
physical
remember
buttons.
seeing the old, I think Ford Explorer or the
those
Ford
those I can
Edge.
still have physical buttons.
It's there.
Yeah,
it's
the
there in Ford
rubbery
Explorer.
buttons.
Okay,
Yeah.
but most importantly, Huawei has done this last year.
No way, really?
Yes. Yeah, and I'm not talking about third party stuff. I'm talking about the CCC Car Connectivity Consortium using that standard.
Okay,
They partnered up
interesting.
with Audi. Yeah. Of course, before that there have been lots of third party apps which have done it with some cars and stuff. That's totally different. But Huawei did it last year with using the standard CCC standard along with Audi's, and they plan to do it with BMW as well. So that's already not something new.
Okay, that's interesting. So okay, that brings 2 points. Firstly, I'm still happy. I don't care. I'm glad that this is happening. I think it's a good trend. It's not like a make or break feature, but I like the idea of being able to hand off a key or temporarily give access, or let's say I want to get my car cleaned, like I can give access to the guy who's cleaning the car. Who knows? Like there's a lot of potential there. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, I also want to point out the power of marketing.
Yes, of course. I totally agree. The way Apple has done it, I mean, I couldn't even find a proper web page by Huawei where I could read everything in detail. I had to like dig in, and there was this a small mention somewhere. There were a couple of videos, yes,
Right.
but it was very like like a small thing, and I was like, wow, why have they done it this way?
Well, if you have
So
I guess a link or an image or something to show us, it would be great if we can put that in the show notes.
sure, I'll send it across. You can just search for Huawei CarKeys,
Hmm.
and that should bring it up. Yes.
Okay, so let's
Yes,
try
Huawei
to.
CarKeys, the first two links, not the promoted link on the Google
Mhm.
search, but the next two links, you can click any of those and
Okay,
read
I'll have a
about
look. We'll do it
those.
after we finish recording
Yes,
this
yes,
episode,
yes.
and we'll put it in the show notes.
Right, right.
I think that, I mean, for me, that's the main feature from CarPlay, because my car currently, none of my cars support CarPlay right now. That's actually my next, like, it's my minimum criteria for when I change my car, which I don't know when that's going to happen, but whenever that happens, that's my minimum requirement to have CarPlay support, because I have used it while I was in Canada, and it was a phenomenal experience. I mean, even though, yeah, there were so many issues and I felt there were so many areas for improvement, but the idea that I could do it, it's so convenient on a day to day for me, checking traffic and having everything sorted out on my screen. I don't actually really like using my phone ever while driving.
Yeah.
I'm very happy not using it at all. Just I need the maps. Like, I want to know the traffic, nothing else.
So have you booked your 2021 BMW 5 Series?
Like I said, I don't think the car key thing is a make or break feature for me, because even BMWs, they have the BMW Connect
Yes.
app, and I could do it that way. So
In fact, I was just thinking, I mean, when you have your phone as a car key, I would have to remove something from my pocket and put it at the door to open it. Right now with keyless entry, I don't have to remove anything. I just walk up to the car and pull the door.
true, but I guess that's my point, where it's more for a scenario where
Yes,
you don't
in
have
those,
the key.
Yes, in those scenarios, yes, giving someone access, yes, that,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
And only in my current house's basement do I not have my phone with me in my hand when I'm walking up to my car. It's more often than not that I have my phone already with me, because I'm on my phone while I'm walking, whatever it is, like, so it's there. So I'm like, "Whoop," and I'm in.
Okay.
So, but I think they could totally improve it with like Bluetooth LE or something, like low energy Bluetooth,
Right.
and potentially like just for
But,
the unlocking. I don't know.
Okay, so I think the logic behind doing NFC is that even after a phone is turned off, I mean the battery is gone, NFC still has some power in it, so you can open it up to some hours. Apple
Yeah.
says 5 hours for their
5
phones.
hours, yeah.
Maybe other phones have some other, but NFC has
Potential,
some little bit of battery.
It requires very, very low amounts of battery.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's a very low energy concept. So that's why. So I guess Bluetooth would be a good daily use, and NFC is for emergency, or if you're giving it to somebody else, and then they should be NFC only.
Right.
But like for me as the primary owner with like all access, maybe a Bluetooth idea would. I don't know if they do it, but it's an idea.
Although I don't think I'm personally comfortable, or I like the idea of only having a phone, not a car key. I mean, if I lose my phone, or I mean, I know you can deactivate online. That's a different thing. But how do I get access to my car? If that's the only thing I have, and that has to have.
But I think
time to
you'll always have a key, right?
Yeah, I do. So that's what I'm saying. I always want to have that key. I don't want to only have a phone. And even if you see the key, the keyless entry has that physical key in there, because if the battery goes, something happens, you have access. So that's the whole point, that you have something if the battery goes, or So
But
I
actually,
just-
in my car, there's no physical key slot to start the car.
Okay, in the BMW.
No, in my Honda. In fact, in the BMW also there isn't.
Physical key slot.
There isn't
Ish.
in the BMW. There isn't a physical key slot.
BMW,
So
okay, I understand. No,
why?
I'm saying for unlocking.
For unlocking, yeah,
Yes, for unlocking.
but to start the car, no.
Yeah, that's not there in many cars.
But if your car key battery dies,
No, but
No,
you
okay.
unlock the car. Okay, I don't know how exactly.
How do you
No,
start your car?
that has happened with me in
I know the way
my
to
previous
do it,
car
but
in
I'm asking
BMW.
with it because it's
Oh,
a
okay.
scenario that maybe he's not experienced with a keyless start
Okay.
car.
Yeah.
Because
I
if you
have-
search
I have
for it, they don't
experienced
have
it.
a place to put your key in and start.
Yeah, right. That's
But there is a way
Yeah.
to solve it. So I don't know, Nakul, if you want to say that. It happened to me literally just a few days ago.
Okay.
So it happened with me few years back with Mini Cooper that my CarKeys battery died. So I had to insert. I'm like, first of all, I didn't understand like from where do I enter the key,
Okay.
because then I figured it out. I googled and there is a tab which I need to open the door. I need to insert the key from below, and then to start the car, I just need to keep my
Key fob.
just to place my car keys near the where the key
Start
slot
button is.
it's supposed to be, and
The key
and
slot.
then within
What's the key slot?
yeah, no,
The start
wherever you
button.
put the key inside.
Where the key slot would have been.
No,
at
not
that
the
point.
yeah, no, not the start button. It was
Okay.
there was a key key branding on it, and it started. I mean, like within 2 seconds, if you just press the start button,
So how
it
does
should
that
start.
work? If there's no battery in the.
I assume it's working on something similar to
No,
NFC or...
yeah. So battery of my car keys died, and not. So I think it uses. I don't know, because
Actually,
it
honestly,
cannot-
I wanted to look into that. I haven't looked into it myself, but for me,
Yeah.
for both my cars, it's about getting it right next to the push start button.
Okay.
So holding it near that and pushing the start of the car, and then it turns on.
Okay. Fine.
Because
That's
if
just
you
the-
go to any BMW agency, they put your car keys in one of their the thing that they have and they can see everything about your car, where it has been repaired and when was the last service
Yeah.
and everything. So I think each key is linked to that particular car.
Does your car have a charging
is.
slot for the key?
No, you change the
I-
battery.
No, I know of some. I don't remember which car, but there was I think Infiniti.
Maybe Tesla.
No. So the first time I experienced this with Tesla was super cool. Like he actually did with this phone. He located the car. Okay, let's see where the car is. Okay, let's start it. I don't have the key. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's the first time I actually saw it. Anyway, so moving on to our, I guess.
Yeah. We've sort of sidetracked a bit here.
I think our iOS episode will be two
will be
two
two,
episodes.
yeah. I think, is there anything else that you want to say about CarPlay? You guys would probably have a bit more to say.
CarPlay.
I personally love CarPlay for and the feature that they've added to change wallpaper, that doesn't make any difference
Yeah,
to
actually,
my
that was
experience.
super lame.
But but I use CarPlay every day.
Mm-hmm. So they added a few more things to it. Oh, that's the EV stuff and parking. I
But
think
that's
I don't know.
I think again the maps thing. Like
Yeah, so I don't
the
think
maps
those will
with
affect us at
CarPlay,
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
I think there's just
sadly.
one thing which I miss in Android Auto, which is I think there in CarPlay is voice notes. I mean, not notes, but voice messages. So
Okay.
if someone sends you a voice message, I think CarPlay plays it out to you, right?
Yes, and you can reply as well.
Yes, you can reply as a voice message as well. Or
Yes,
maybe in this update
yeah.
you can. Something like that.
No,
But
it won't send as a voice message. It'll send as a text.
No, so I think in this update onwards, you can send it as a
Okay.
voice message.
Oh, that's good.
So have you used CarPlay since you updated?
No.
No, okay. So it might be worth trying it out, and let's come back to it after a few weeks and see
Yeah.
what the experience is like. Cool. I think okay. So let's move on to the next topic. And Nakul, what do you want to discuss next? Should we do?
I think it's
AirPods?
iPadOS. I think
iPadOS.
Yeah, I'm just going in the hierarchy which they went. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so let's do iPadOS then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in my points I just have two.
Okay,
And maybe
go
can
ahead.
elaborate on that. More is like I've noticed that the iPadOS is getting more like Mac OS now. And the second part, the Scribble, the one that I really like. Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest,
pretty
yeah.
much everything is the same as iOS, right? Because iPadOS is
Yeah.
essentially like a fork of iOS, and they tend to have everything on there. I don't see there really being that many differences, but more iPad specific things have changed. Obviously, because that's not an iOS. So definitely, like, okay, I'll just quickly run through it. We don't need to really talk about it because we've already talked it to death in these episodes. But the widget redesign is obviously coming to iPad. The whole thing
Yeah.
I don't know how the app library thing works in iPad. I don't know. They didn't really mention if it's there. But
Okay.
search also gets the same improvements. Everything gets the same improvements. There is the new sidebar feature for all the apps, which is what I think Knuckle was hinting towards, how it's getting more and more like
Yeah.
the MacBook
Mac
or
OS,
macOS.
Okay.
I like the idea of that, but I still think files. Why don't they just make it Finder and make it almost as good as, and make tabs if you need to instead of making windows. So I don't see why they don't implement that. Maybe there's some other reason, or maybe Finder becomes files, and that would be dreadful. I don't know, but you can never say. But I do like the idea of compact calls and compact Siri on the iPad, because it's honestly ridiculous that your entire screen would get covered. Or even,
Yeah.
I think they used to have the little phone size screen that would pop up, but it doesn't need to be there. I think a small one is good. Is there anything else before we get into?
So I
I-
think okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I know that there's been a bit of an update with ARKit.
Yeah.
But everything else, I think messages is all the same. I don't know much about ARKit right now because I don't have those devices with me. But everything else, Maps is as useless as iOS here. Home has the same features. I think, what was the other one? Messages has the same features. So nothing really groundbreaking there. Safari, I think, also has the same features as iOS. So let's delay that for, I guess, the discussion when we talk about macOS.
Yeah.
But the biggest one is Scribble.
Scribble.
And I know Udit has some things to say about it. I saw it on his Twitter that he has some opinions about Scribble. So
Not Scribble itself, but something to do with the pencil. So
Right.
the shape recognition which Apple has just gotten
you're right.
was there in the Samsung Galaxy Note tab in 2012. They called it shape match.
Sure.
And they also had a formula match. So let's say you write something like 5x plus 10 is equal to 25. It will automatically solve that equation for you,
Oh, nice.
handwritten, and it will also create a graph with that equation.
Nice.
In 2012, that's 8 years ago. That was like wow back then.
Well, I mean, to be fair, all of this stuff is not new. We had the Apple Newton failure that was there, and that did handwriting recognition and conversion to text. And I think they were also not the first ones to do it. I don't know for sure because it's so long ago. I don't think even I was born at that time. So it's such an old technology. So I guess they are trying to do things on a more, I guess, user interactive way, focused around UI and UX a bit more, which is why Scribble makes so much sense. And I think
Scribble is nice.
it's a really cool concept, and it's just such a simple answer to a problem, right? If you are calling it the replacement for your pen or your pencil, and it should be as good as writing, it
Start
makes sense when a
writing into it.
box
Yes.
pops up, you write into it. I love that. I love the idea of that.
Yeah.
It's great.
So I think that's like the biggest update for me in terms of iPad. But there is one more about the notes. So what Udit was hinting towards was the smart object conversion. What do they call it? Shape recognition.
Shape
Um,
something, yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, great. I know it's existed, and it's a bit sad that they didn't do it. They haven't done anything with it yet. But is the smart selection a thing? Was it there? The ability to, like, when you write something down, to select just those words, and as far as I remember, you can even change the color of the writing.
Yeah, that's
on-
in the latest update, right?
Yeah, in iOS you can do that now with iPadOS. I didn't know that. I don't think anybody else has thought of putting that in place.
I don't think so. Yeah.
So I like the idea of that. That's kind of cool. You can search through all your text fine. I think
Yes,
Samsung had it with a Note a while ago, but I don't know if they could even detect dates or things like
they
that.
could detect all the text, but then you couldn't change the color of the handwritten text and stuff like that.
No, but if you wrote a date on a note, would it
Yeah.
link it to your calendar? Like, could you click it and do something with
I
it?
don't think so.
So I like these like nuances that they have added.
Maybe it could, because
Maybe it could.
if it converted into text, then obviously
Yeah.
anywhere you write the date in your phone, it usually links it to your calendar. Most places.
Usually, but I mean, at the end of the day, if it stops at just conversion
Yeah.
and doesn't run anything
Right,
else on
right,
that
right.
text, then it just
Yes.
takes a little bit of focus around the user experience to build this concept. So I like the idea of it. I'm just saying from an idea point of view, I think it's really good. Begs to be seen how it really works, and I think we are slowly getting to a point where when Steve Jobs went yuck on the screen with the stylus, now we're getting to a point where it isn't really just a stylus. It's so much more than that.
So much more.
Which is what Samsung has done with their Note. Honestly, that stylus, I don't know why they still call it the
S Pen.
stylus. S
S
Pen,
Pen.
right, S Pen. The S Pen is phenomenal.
S Pen.
Yes, I think the S Pen is great. I like the ability to control your presentation. It's like a remote and a
Yeah, you
I
can
don't know,
take
handwritten-
photos.
Yeah, it's
You
phenomenal.
can do so
What
much
an
more.
idea.
Yeah.
But sadly, very few people use it. Even, Note users, they don't make the full use of the S Pen.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, it's
Do you
that's
think
fine.
that's related to the size of the device?
No.
No.
I mean,
when
people
I
buy-
had a Note, I was using it extensively.
Okay. You're a power
And
user as
in the latest notes, in the latest notes, which I've seen the feature, the one that I like, you can just pull out the S Pen and then start writing on the locked screen, and it'll
Right.
it'll get saved in notes.
2.5, 3
Yeah,
years.
2, 3, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that feature is awesome
I used to use that a lot.
because
Yeah.
I have many colleagues at workplace who use Note for that purpose only, to take quick notes.
Right.
So using Note for notes.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I think the positioning of the pencil is quite different from the S Pen.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that's what it is because it is a separate device, right?
Yeah,
At
you
the end
have
of
to
the
buy
day, they are.
separately, right?
Yeah, they sell it. They sell it separately. You
Yeah.
don't get it bundled with the iPad at any point. I think maybe it's just a mental difference also. Because
Perhaps,
you
yes.
drop more money on it or whatever it is. I don't know.
Yes.
It
yes.
could be that's what it
Perhaps,
is.
Yes. Could be.
So yeah. I know we're kind of glossing over iPadOS, but a lot of the stuff we have already talked about.
So I
From
think there was one feature which I saw in the iPadOS updates was
Mhm.
touchpad support. Touchpad. So
Like the-
you connect an external keyboard which has a touchpad.
Okay.
Touchpad, and iPad supports that.
Okay, well that makes sense. I mean,
Okay.
because they added the mouse gesture support.
So until
In the
now,
latest
iPad
keyboard, yeah.
did not have that support.
No, they actually added the mouse support very recently.
Wow. So Android devices, I was just seeing does Android have this, And almost any Android device in the last maybe 3-4 years, you could connect a OTG cable and plug in a
Yeah.
mouse. Works totally fine. Works
Yeah.
with a pointer. Even the mouse scroll works. So though I have never had the need to use it, but yeah, you could potentially connect any keyboard with a cool mouse maybe, and it
Yeah.
will do tricks on your Android device.
No, I agree with you on that point because it's something when I was using my iPad way back. My iPad is really old. I think I have the iPad 3rd generation. So like the original one, not even the Air before
Yeah.
that. So it's a really old device. And I remember even then I bought the keyboard, but at points I was like, I used to use a keyboard and the iPad and I could do some things with it. But in the end I had to reach out and touch the, and that was very annoying. But then now seeing the way they implemented the mouse,
Right.
or rather the mouse pointer of sorts into the UI,
Right.
the user experience is amazing.
Okay.
So I think, yeah, we tend to wait a long time for some of the more
More obvious features.
it's not even obvious. It's like the basic features. It's like
Basic.
it's like I need to breathe, I need to eat, I need to sleep. Give me that, But then Apple's like, if you're going to
Yeah.
sleep, we're gonna give you the best sleep ever.
It's gonna take a while. You
It's
just
gonna-
have to stay awake for days.
You're gonna be
And you
suffering. You'll be
sleep.
drinking energy drinks, and you'll be all hopped up on I don't know what. But you will get sleep after that, but you're gonna pay for it.
But once
I
you
think
sleep,
for-
we'll track your sleep, we'll translate your sleep, we'll photograph, we'll do all of it.
True.
Okay,
Yeah.
touchpad, iPad also supports touchpad gestures, but does iPad itself also have gestures? Like, let's say you do those 4 fingers on the iPad itself. Does it switch between
Yeah.
windows and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it has been there since the beginning.
since the beginning. So with my iPad, the 3rd gen one, I remember doing. I think it was. I can't remember. It's been such a
It
long
was
time. I think I did
this
four-
and then this.
Yeah,
this.
so 4-finger swiping would change between apps, which is
Okay.
kind of like how iOS does it now with the bar at the bottom. So
Right.
that's how they used to do that, and they had a bunch of shortcuts. Yeah, like I think I don't remember all of them, but yeah.
Yeah, I think there were with if you swipe down with 3 fingers,
something would happen, and yeah, there was definitely stuff. There was gestures.
Right.
I don't remember them, but there were definitely gestures.
Okay, cool.
Cool. So let's move on to what's the next item?
AirPod Pro.
AirPods.
AirPods
What do you guys
Pro,
think of AirPods? The updates to AirPods.
I think
Again,
it's nice. I mean, I found the video interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
that
you
spatial
move,
audio, yeah.
Really nice. I don't know practically what exactly, how much of a difference are you gonna feel?
Exactly. I wanna try them.
It feels good to hear the concept. I mean, spatial audio. Wow, sounds great.
I love the in spatial audio. I like the concept of spatial audio, but what really blew me away was the head tracking within spatial audio.
Yes.
Right.
That to me was so cool. Like I know in if you go to Dolby Atmos cinemas, and you can sometimes feel someone whispering.
Right.
If it's happening on screen, and it's
Yes.
mind blowing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's such a phenomenal experience. So if they can somehow do that, and if I move away,
Right.
or I turn and that whisper changes,
Right.
I don't know how that's going to be. I don't know what content you need to be consuming to take advantage of that, because obviously it won't work with just normal like
Yes.
It works with
our
5.1, 7.1, and Dolby Atmos.
Right, so I can't just like move my head this way and hear Udit better and move my head this way, and But yeah, I think it's cool. Like if someone consumes Netflix on their iPad, I think this could work, because I think Netflix is supporting Dolby.
Yeah,
Atmos,
they
right?
support. I don't know about Dolby, but 5.1, yes.
5.1, yeah, so that could work. That's something that's really cool.
But it's really cool. But like once I would like to try.
Yeah, I would like to try. The concept is there, but
because
I mean,
it's
the
not
proof
cheap.
is in the pudding.
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's like 1,000 dirhams.
Yeah, it's an expensive pair of headphones. Yeah,
$1,000. That's the Pro, right?
AirPods Pro.
Yeah.
I don't know,
AirPods Pro.
do these come to the normal AirPods?
Ah,
I don't know.
normally
Because on the
AirPods
website it says AirPods, but in the keynote they kept saying AirPods Pro.
Yeah, they mentioned Pro.
So I don't know what it is. I mean,
What do you mean? I didn't get you.
there's AirPods and AirPods Pro, right? There's two different
Yes.
products. So does the spatial audio apply to both, or is it just on AirPods Pro?
I think it's just on AirPods Pro.
But then on the website it says AirPods.
Ooh, interesting.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe it's worth looking into that a bit more.
Yeah, AirPods.
So here's something that I didn't know that wasn't there with the AirPods is battery notifications. So you don't get a notification when your AirPod is running low on battery on your screen. Before, apparently they've added it now, which is interesting. So if your AirPods battery goes below, I guess 10%, it'll show a pop-up that says that your AirPods are running low. You need to charge them. I know that there's the battery widget.
Battery percentage, okay.
But this is interesting. I think they also added like better understanding of battery. I remember seeing it somewhere in the keynote where you can understand the individual battery a little better rather than the whole thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm imagining that a bit. I don't know. But I think the best feature which should work, I don't know, spatial audio might be a gimmick. So I don't know. We'd have to really test it out. But the best feature that they announced was the automatic switching.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
Yeah. So a lot of headphones do this where you can connect to multiple devices.
Right.
And it switches streams, but it's not the way Apple does.
So how exactly does it decide that you want audio from a particular device?
So the way I understood it was if you get a phone call.
Yeah, I
Like,
understand the phone call thing.
Right. So let's say you're talking on the you're watching something on your screen, just for the benefit of all our listeners. So if I'm watching something on the iMac and I'm connected to the iMac, and I get a phone call, it pauses that and connects to my phone. That's an obvious answer, right?
Yeah.
But the other one is where if I'm watching something and I pick up my phone, I guess it switches to your phone.
Okay.
Which can be stupid also if you think about it, because I'm watching a movie and maybe I want to chat with somebody also.
No, you'll have to remove your AirPod once. I think one of the AirPods you'll need to remove
Okay.
for it to connect to your phone. Okay.
Because it says it says seamlessly move between devices. So if you finish a phone call on your iPhone and pick up your iPad to watch a movie, the AirPods will switch automatically to your iPad.
That
So the idea behind it is to make your audio experience seamless and delivers to you the audio that you want based on what you're actually doing. So maybe you don't pick up your phone, but maybe you're getting a phone call and then you put it down and then pick up your iPad. That's when it plays it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Could be.
It's not. I don't think it's unique to Apple. Obviously, it's existed in everything else, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't buy the AirPods. So now I'm feeling more inclined to buy them, but I'm gonna wait till I guess next year because now it's already half the year's gone by since the AirPods Pro came out.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe when you pick up your phone, it goes to the phone, and when you keep your phone down again,
it goes back to the iPad.
With, let's say, 1 or 2 taps, it disconnects and then sends your wife the sorry message. Check out our previous episode to get what you're saying.
Yes. Nakul, how many sorry messages have you sent to Rinku so far?
With that Siri shortcuts. Okay.
Okay, there's another thing here that says that you can do audio sharing for Apple TV on your AirPods.
Audio sharing with Apple TV. Oh.
Which actually sounds good to me, especially when you pair that with spatial audio. So you spend, instead of spending on a sound bar, you spend on AirPods, and you put those on and watch the show together, and each one gets a full immersive audio experience for the show that they're watching. I think that's a cool concept. I think that's interesting if they can manage to pull that off in a nice way.
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
So I can see online that all AirPods model will have that feature to move between devices seamlessly, but the higher tier AirPods Pro will receive the new feature of spatial audio.
Fair enough.
What about the Apple TV thing? Is that only on the AirPods S Pro Max?
I think it should be on both. I have a feeling it's on both.
It depends.
But why would
what
you want to
chip,
listen to your TV on your AirPods? Those things don't sound that great. AirPods Pro sounds so much better.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, the thing is, I'll tell you, I've never tried any of the AirPods.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Worth trying. I would say that the convenience part of it, for that would be one of the main reasons why I would want to pick it up.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of it. Yeah.
And many people who are into productivity and everything, so their number one suggestion is for productivity is get an AirPod.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like,
why for productivity? Like something people who work in with audio video thing?
no. I mean, like, it's just, it'll make your life a little bit better. That way you don't have to deal with like Bluetooth devices. If you're struggling to manage devices, connect them to,
Okay.
Like, that condescending look never goes away.
I know.
Like, why?
What are Apple users trying to do? Like,
I'll
use AirPods Pro for concentration. Okay, fine.
To drown out any Android naysayers, basically. Just to drown you out.
No, I'm like because of these podcasts, I'm getting insights into what's happening inside Udit's head. He doesn't. It's not like it's that he hates. He loves Android. It's just he hates Apple.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's
No, well, I do love Android.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. But he did admit that he likes Apple's design concepts.
Oh yes, I totally accept that the design, basically the visual appeal, whether it's hardware, whether it's software, the way things move smooth, super amazing design, super.
So this is something I wanted to point out even in the last episode. I don't remember if I said it, but that's, I think, the difference in methodology of implementing features between the two OSs. In Android, they will implement something that isn't fully like 100% baked, but they will implement it. Apple will tend to wait a lot longer and try to finish it a lot more and publish it where it's almost completely perfect. But obviously there are things that fall through the cracks, like Apple Maps was
Yeah.
a major thing, and still it's useless to us, but
So
that was
this
like a
reminds
major
me
one.
of the sleep thing that you said. Like, I'm sleepy. I want to sleep now. I may get a better sleep later,
True.
but no, I want to sleep now.
I agree. I understand that. So that's so that
you know, I
analogy.
want my device to have the functionality to do stuff. Maybe I don't want it to do less stuff, but in an amazingly beautiful way. No, I want it to do more stuff. You do it
Yeah.
as beautifully or non-beautifully, but do more stuff.
Sure. No, there's nothing I can say necessarily about that, but I mean, at the end of the day, while the sleep analogy works, it's not as, I guess, critical as something like sleeping or breathing. You know, so
Yeah.
so which is why even a person like me who wants to get the most out of something I pay for, I'm okay to buy an iPhone even though Maps doesn't work. You know, and I'll put the effort of finding a phone which has FaceTime on it
Right.
because I want to use the handover feature or whatever it's called, the
Yes. So that's another thing. Just the two things I like about Apple: design and the handoff for the ecosystem.
yeah.
So if
So
you're
I'll-
adopting Apple, then it works totally seamlessly.
It works really well, yeah. So that's the thing, like that's why I went through the effort of finding a phone with FaceTime on it, just because I want to be able to that helps with my productivity drastically. I don't have to actually do anything. I don't have to take my headphones on. I'm already connected to my laptop or my iMac, and I'm like plugged in to my phone. I can make calls, I can answer, everything is done.
Right.
You know? That's where things like when WhatsApp went to the web and I could browse it through my computer, that changed productivity for me as well, because now my phone is just like an additional device that tends to hold data when I'm on the go.
Right.
But it's not really my central device. My central device is a bigger screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I just read that WhatsApp might be moving to cloud. What we were talking about.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
Right.
There's a rumor about
I
it.
just read that maybe
Oh, wow.
that would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be really amazing. So again, we were discussing this in part 1, which is episode 8. So if you want to catch up to that conversation, so definitely check out the previous episode if you haven't. I think let's do this. Let's end this episode for now. In the next
Yeah.
episode, let's look at WatchOS 7
WatchOS.
and macOS Big Sur. I think, Knuckle, you've installed it onto your computer, right?
Yes.
So we'll get your insights onto that. We'll discuss all the
Yeah.
features then. Let's end this episode for now. I think that was a good roundup. I'm surprised that we did so few, but there's a lot to discuss, and obviously we're getting a lot of insights from people who've actually used it, people who don't use it, and one person who absolutely hates it. So there's a mixed bag there. So cool. Is there any other last thoughts that you guys want to say? Maybe.
Odit, please.
No,
Stage
I
is
think
yours.
some of the things were nice. I mean, the design wise, of course, some things were good. Spatial audio, interesting. But of course, like I said, most of the features were much later than
Much
others.
later.
Though, yeah, they visually look good. Yes, the visual
Yeah.
appeal is there. Yes.
And I think Apple also does this little thing where they give you, like, let's say this is already existent, they'll give you that plus. Yeah, that's what they do. Like, that's what
Yeah,
Scribble.
that
that's
little
what, yeah, that's where Scribble comes in. Like, they gave you that plus, like just a little more, you know. Which I don't mind. I love it. I love that little, like, it's like, ooh, we're giving you this brand new feature. No, but also yes. But yeah, cool. Okay, so then let's sign off. Knuckle, last words.
I'm excited for the next episode when we'll talk about Big Sur and I want to talk about the privacy features which they have added because I think they are doing a lot there. So catch you in the next one.
Great.
Awesome. Udit, how about you?
Yes, looking forward to the Chrome episode.
Well, we will see. We will see. So I guess you gotta come into episode 10, which is part 3 of our WWDC roundup discussions and everything. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
See ya.